Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to show you guys. This is the Kizer Ringbo, which I have no idea what that name means, but most importantly, this is a pretty cool looking pocket knife. I really like this sort of squared off handle profile that is shadow boxed by a polished steel liner underneath. Most importantly, we have the button operated top liner lock, which is like the drop bear one that I opened up here recently. I think some of you may have seen that. I opened it up and noticed that this right here, this pin, is not necessarily a standalone stop pin because the actual open position stop pin is internal and rides on channels there. This pin actually is cylindrical all the way around except for one side right here where it's a flat wall. So we have this button operated liner lock that does lock up behind the actual lock face on the blade, much like all top liner locks do, but it has an additional contact point on the other side of that pin, making the stability of the locking system actually hit it pretty hard there. Very, very good. I don't know if this is unique to newer Kizer top liner locks or if it's always been the case. I also don't know if it is unique specifically to Kizer top liner locks, but I did notice that and I thought it was pretty cool. That gives it actually 3 points of contact locking up. Very, very nice. So this knife is not very expensive. I will link it down in the description. It does help my channel when you use those links. That's entirely up to you. Thanks to my patrons for supporting me, and make sure your notifications are turned on for the Metal Complex YouTube channel. The overall length of the Ringbo 6.85 inches with a blade length of 2.9. Cutting edge 2.8. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. Any custom scales you find in this section can be found down in the description under Original Goat and Others. Up against my full size and compact Excalibur, you can see here it is on the smaller side. Let's just do a couple more here. Let's do the Spyderco Para 3, and then I think also the Hogue Deca. That's probably all that's really necessary here. How is the action? Actually, Kizer's top liner locks are pretty top tier. Kizer and Vosteed, I think, are really doing the best feeling button-operated top liner locks that are out there. This one has higher tension than the drop bear that I recently reviewed, and I like that. Even with, the additional stability of that, what I presume is an additional locking surface that is not normal for top liner locks. I could be wrong. They can clarify, right? But I like the ones that feel like there's a little bit more tension there. They still feel a lot better than a standard plunge lock, and that additional tension should hold the lock in place just that much better. But it's phenomenal. And with this, you've got plenty of access to this opening, whatever shape we call this here. It's really easy in that ledge. This flat area right here makes it really easy to sort of thumb flick out. So fidget factor, reliability, all of that stuff, lock solidity, it's all very, very good. No complaints. Carry profile, thickness up against the Spyderco Para 3. This does have exposed liners with the aluminum scales on top, so it is a little bit thicker. Not too bad, though. Length and height up against the PM2 and the Para 3. It still manages to be a very compact object that is not difficult or uncomfortable to carry in a wide variety of pants, which is a funny, I don't know why that sentence is funny. Materials, aluminum, polished steel liners, and then we have AEBL for the blade steel, which I am not familiar with outside of custom knife makers enjoying it on custom knives. I do not know the optimal range for AEBL, and I also don't know how it stands out amongst other pocket knife steels in this territory, which is teetering right there on budget, right? AEBL, as far as I can understand, has a balance that is not specifically unique or ultra beneficial versus a lot of other steels that are offered at the same price point, but it is still good. It's still considered a good steel, right? 3.3 ounces, 3.3 ounces away from being ultra lightweight by my own definition, with a balance point a little further back on the back side of the primary index finger position, but at 3.3 ounces, that hardly matters, honestly. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get out my tools as per usual. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them right down in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use in this channel. I had the T6-bit out. The T8-bit, which is it installed? Was I wrong? What are you? This is a T9. What's the T9 doing in there? That's weird. Let's try the T8. Let's make sure. That's a T7. What is, oh, it's way over here. My God, what a mess. A disaster even. Okay, sorry about that. Put your tools back in the right order. We have a T8 for the pivot, and what we have here is that hidden hardware setup where we have a T6 pocket clip screw that's holding in the pocket clip. You'll have to remove that pocket clip, and underneath there's a T8 screw, which allows you to pull off this scale here and gain access to the rest of the internals. This is very similar to the drop air setup that I showed you guys not too long ago. I don't know how I have these scheduled, but yeah, it's not too different there. So as long as you have the right tools for the job, you should be good to go. It's very interesting the way that I have decided to put these things back. I'm not sure why they're so horrifically out of order, but that's not something we're going to worry about right now. That's something that I've allowed to bother me in the middle of a review. Anyways, let's let's go ahead and measure the blade stock thickness here. We are probably looking at 115 thousandths or so. 110 thousandths on this guy, so nice and thin, which in this case will probably lend more to your edge performance than the steel or heat treatment itself, but we're still going to talk about it. Did we weigh it? Did we measure it? Yes, we did. Meat and potatoes time. It does not look like a profile that would be super ergonomic, but you know what? It's pretty comfortable. It's not, oh my God, it's the most comfortable thing in the world, but it's honestly pretty darn comfortable, especially here. This choke up spot can be utilized, but it's not quite as comfortable. This one right here is fine. And you do have actually some pretty nice lock, and I think it would have been fun to have this textured, or at least have the option for texturing, but it's not textured, and that's okay. I kind of like how it looks plain. It has that very minimalist look without being like, oh yay, it's minimalist. Like, it's just boring. So many minimalist aesthetics are like heavy emphasis on the minimalist, no real emphasis on making sure that it actually fits your hand properly or is able to be manipulated properly. In this case, we have that look, and we have the ease of manipulation, the safety, the convenience, all of that. It's very, very good. Nothing hyper special going on here. You have the area back here for the lanyard if you want it, and of course access to the pocket clip screw. We have a captive pivot here, which I very much enjoy, along with the fact that there's no real visible hardware here except for the pivot, which I find totally excusable. We have a satin finish on the blade. I think you have a couple different options on the blade. This is more of a, I don't know. What do you guys want to call this? You want to call it a sheep's foot? I mean, you could, like, if we looked at it right here, a lot of people would say that's a drop point. It's a drop point metal complex. Oh, wait, I'm not really sure. Whatever. Drop point, sheep's foot, sheep's point, drop sheep, drop goat, whatever you want to call it. It's fine. This is a flat grind down to a nice cutting bevel. The edge geometry is nice and thin, so I do enjoy that a lot. There's really nothing else on the blade. Even the Kizer logo is hidden. It's only visible in the closed position. In the open position, it's hidden. It's a real classy move, Kizer. It's nice and classy. Same with the designer logo right here, which, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not super familiar with, but we're going to get a good look at it. Actually, it just says the little Ringbo in AEBL. That's it. It doesn't actually say anything else there. So I'm not sure if this was an internal design or if this was a collab. But there'll be more information if you go to the listing using the link in the description. I do like the shadow box liners. I think that's a good look. Sometimes it's a little too shadow boxed and the liners stick out and it's uncomfortable. In this case, it's not at all. They're rounded off or chamfered or whatever you want to say. They don't stick out too far, so I appreciate that. Left or right-handed for the pocket clip mounting position. If you are right-handed, you have to really try to bear down on this and push that thing in. I guess in this grip, right? You need to be cognizant of it. You can hold it like this with your finger kind of going diagonally, right? In the choked up position, I think you're safe. It's really just in the hammer grip and just when you're allowing your finger to land straight on top of it. Left-handed people, this grip, the pad on my index finger is far enough away from it that it's not affecting it. Choked up, I think you'd have to squeeze pretty hard and even still. I think in the left-handed position, you have to try even harder to disengage it. So I think for the most part, you're pretty safe. In and out of the pocket is fine, other than the fact that this one came with an exceptionally tight clip. From what I can tell, these newer Kizers that have this system here, it's kind of a dice roll in terms of both lock bar tension and the pocket clip tension. So if I was going to carry this every day, I might loosen it up a bit, but it's not bad. It's on a smooth surface there. Stop pins are internal, like I said. You can see them. It is possible that there is an additional contact point on that pin. However, I find that unlikely because machining the internals to allow for the internal stop to contact the frame at the exact same time as this stop pin, it'd have to be pretty tight, but it is possible, right? It could be that this is just a backup for this one so that the lock wear over time, like once this stop pin like actually mashes that liner down enough that this is actually contacting here, then it acts as a second stop. I don't know, right? But they're both very, very close. Obviously, your open position is also, or your closed position is also an internal stop. So we don't need, it looks like it contacts here, but this does have, you can actually see the channel right in there. It does actually have that stop there. And I think we'll find that there is no mark underneath here to indicate that that it's actually contacting behind the plunge grind. So we don't really even need to worry about it. There is the plunge grind, by the way, if you didn't get a good look at that. Okay. Lockup solidity, completely and totally solid. Slight button stick, not really that big. It's not a button stick, it's a liner stick, not bad. No pivot lash, smooth and consistent in here, and a very nice clicky detent. It has remained centered the entire time that I've had it with no detent lash. What's the price of this? $79. It's right over the line of a budget knife. Should it be there? In my opinion, no. I think that this should be just another like $69 giggity, $69 knife in Kizer's library. I have no idea why they like what is caught like what's the holdup here? The AEBL or the aluminum? Because neither of those things nor the combination of the two should push this thing up over that limit. These are, in my opinion, AEBL is apparently a some like it's not like a bottom tier budget steel. It's a pretty good steel. I think it's in the same like cost bracket as maybe anywhere between 154 cm and like 14 C28N. Like maybe it's in I think VG10 is a little more expensive, right? But it's somewhere in there. So it's a nice steel and it's a good steel. I don't know that it's the most perfectly optimized for anything, but there can't be too much cost added with AEBL itself. The aluminum, yeah, we see Migron uses aluminum on $40 knives, sometimes $30 knives. So do I think that Kizer could have gotten under $75? Yes. Are they too far off? Not really. Like ideally, I think this knife would cost about $69 and it's $79. So that's not bad. This is pretty good, honestly. And, while we are seeing more and more and more button operated top liner locks, they're still nowhere near as prominent as they need to be. So Kizer and Vosteed, I think, are making the majority of the good ones right now, and this is one of them. This is a very recommendable knife. You guys may have noticed that I haven't shown nearly as much like of the lower cost knives here lately, and it's not because I'm a snob and I don't care about them. It's because a lot of these companies keep releasing the same crap over and over and over again. And even though it's cheap, it's not really doing anything special, right? These button-operated top liner locks, when they're lower cost, they are special. They are a good option for a lot of people. They're safer, they're more reliable, they're more convenient, so we need to see more of them. This is one of, at the moment, really only a handful of these things out there that exist in a form that's recommendable at the price point. So right now, yes, I absolutely recommend this knife, and I think it's great. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's going to go in my recommended knives playlist, but because it's not a budget knife by my own standard, which is a knife 75 or less, it's not going in that playlist. That's going to be it today, guys. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.